Hello and welcome back to our weekly Salespiration. Again, we're in another round of your sales mindset. And we're going to a little bit stuff you really shouldn't do. You know, these cocktails, when you starting out with like cocktails drinking or so, and you figure out that some stuff just doesn't mix well. Yeah, that's kind of where we are at the moment with our series on sales mindset. There is some stuff you just should not do. And of course, back to our little two sides, skills and mindset, it obviously shows in your behavior when you screw up, but parts of your behavior stems out of your own mind. So, is there something you really shouldn't do, or should more like say don't think or stuck to or hold on to when you want to be engaged in your sales process, when you really want to amp up your sales or just like cut it down, make some freaking money? Yes, they are. First of all, back to that, what I pointed out just before, your behavior shows part of what's going to block you. So on a basic outline is like we have that over interpretation of motivation, over interpretation of thoughts becomes things, and you just have to visualize your success. I know that sounds a little strange. We're doing a series on mindset, and now I'm just like bashing everything you would normally hear about a mindset session on sales. But the thing is, you can think a hell lot of stuff. If you don't do stuff, it will not show up. And the other way around it, and another point, to be honest, is also if you don't change what you think about yourself or your sales and everything else, of course, that will show up in different kind of behaviors. So that's kind of the basic outline always, why we have to have a view on the part of sales mindset. So what does mix well sales mindset wise with earning money or getting sales into? The first thing which doesn't mix well with earning money is the idea you tell probably a story in your head about like nobody's interested about what I'm doing. There are so many competitors out there already. And everything else around that, nobody really is interested in your product. So that, of course, is a self-fulfilling prophecy, not because you're telling yourself that story, but because your behavior will show up in that way. If you're telling the whole time yourself the story about that nobody's interested, even if you start out, you will not follow through. And even the tone of your arguments, and you have that in the last series already, in the last episodes, that kind of enthusiasm is part of the mixture to make a good sales. So if you tell you that story that nobody's interested, that are outside so many competitors already doing that, it will not mix well with your sales. Your arguments will not strike a point with your ideal client. So that's the first no-go. So if you go into your mind that to that position that nobody's interested, you will not follow through, and you have a self-fulfilling prophecy. Also, one of the biggest self-fulfilling prophecy, which starts in your perception, is about like the pricing part. I'm either too expensive, or I'm either too cheap, or something in the middle between. But the basic outline is nobody's going to pay that price. And it doesn't matter how high or how low the price is. If you're in that mind, in that state where you think about constantly nobody's going to pay that price, and address it with low or high, you're back to that your ideal client sees you at some kind of weird position. So the thing is, and that's why that your headspace is so important. While there is an extreme field of how you can screw up your sales from a skill side, yes, there are thousands of things you can do really, really dumbly. But the other thing is that there has to be consistency. So not only consistency in your sales process, consistency in your argument, but also consistency on a more like non-visual, non-cognitive, more on that intuitive field. So if we listen to someone, of course, we have that intuition about thinking about like getting a perception of a person. And if that perception is not in line with what they're telling, we're going into a dissonate state. So we're like, yeah, that's kind of weird. You know, where like the tone of your voice doesn't really mix with kind of your body language, or the tone of your voice doesn't mix with your message. So, easy example. You tell people about digitalization, about speeding up stuff, about how fast things can move. But you do that about the fastness of speed very, very slowly. Yeah. So what's happening here is that your viewer is, or your listener, or your hopefully future client is like, what that doesn't mix well. They cannot even pinpoint what went wrong. It's just like, that doesn't match. And your headspace has to match with your message, with your sales. And that's why sales mindset is so important. If you don't have the confidence, it doesn't resonate with your client and it doesn't resonate with your message. So the biggest thing, of course, is if you tell yourself that nobody's interested in what you do, then your headspace is, okay, nobody's interested in me, and that's gonna screw up your sales. Also, if you're all in that headspace of, I'm either too expensive, people will give you the feedback, and you will have the resonance that you will get feedback on. It's that you are too expensive. Also, the other way around, if you constantly think you are too cheap, and then some client buys that stuff, you are in a very unhappy position and not very happy to deliver the product or the service. So not awesome either. A good idea to do that. So first of all, so that's always why it's essential to check in with yourself. You know that, we already said that in one episode, with yourself where you are, and check in if you're on the right side of headspace. Which is a little bit like in that whole mindset grow thing. So many people talk about mindset. It's kind of that you can change your mindset like one magic moment and then for the rest of your life. That's totally not true. Your mindset is much more a reflection of your emotional state. So the famous quote, which your thinking changes your behavior, is just not true. First of all, emotional state is extreme. If you are in a state of stress, people can read that stress. Hours before you even realize that you get a headache, some people will ask you if you're good. So that's kind of like people read situations, emotions. And we are also totally underestimating how essential an emotional headspace is with us. If you're nervous, your nervousness shows. So changing your sales mindset is more about changing it in the moment where you have to do your sales than a totally long-term process. Because the long-term process is not defined by your sales mindset, it's defined by your change of behavior. So you can do all the thinking and all the works and all the emotional work. If you don't have the proper skills, it won't work. So that's also a hard no-go if you want to sell more, to just think that you just have to change your headspace, your emotions on sales and a little bit of confidence, and then your sales will skyrocket. That's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. A sales mindset change is just a momentary fix. It's a quick fix. It's a quick fix to get you into the space. Considering COVID crisis, a global recession, you have to be in a good space because we have to work on ourselves to get into that space to make more money, to survive, or to sustain a family, or just get the freaking fridge full. So to sell more, you have to understand it's not about I should not work for weeks and months on your sales mindset before you go into your sales. So to get more sales, see everything in that episodes about sales mindset as a quick fix. As a quick fix to get you on track for your next sales pitch, for your video calls, for a telephone call, even writing an email, writing a blog post, to be in that space for a certain kind of amount of time, to be in a good space. And then afterwards, yeah, it's totally fine that you then think, wow, that's exhausting. That's kind of a normal thing what's going to happen. Over time, you see a gratification. You see that you can move stuff. You have a client who buys you, who sends you money, kind of, that weird thing when money appears on your account and you're like, oh, that's cool, client paid me. So the gratification gives you a feedback on what you're doing good with yourself, which means the behavior you establish will follow through longer. So if you really want to amp up your sales, see every sales mindset in the book, and we presented you kind of our little sales mindset book here, and the last episodes of the following episodes as a quick fix for a certain kind of amount of time. So prepping your video, say you want to do what I'm doing here, a video of Facebook Live for further reference on the YouTube channel. So then you would start like, let's say you're also doing it on a Thursday. Then you would do on Monday, figuring out what you want to say, scribble down your notes in the right kind of headspace. On Tuesday, where you will go through your notes, have them, sort them out, put it into the right sales construction of human behavior, which we call the sales mountain, and put it in that kind of amount where you put in like the steps people can follow you. That was Tuesday. On Wednesday, you fill in what you want to tell, think about the product you want to sell, what it is, what can people buy you, your one-on-one service, certain kind of product or anything else. And then your final prep stage, when you're going live on Thursday, you check in with yourself, you're going into that good headspace, and you have fun while doing that video. And that's why it's very important if you're struggling with your sales. Preparation is key, much more preparation than you will probably think, and it's not something you just wing out of your day. Sales is work, and it's a work with an expert on many fields. Expert about your service you offer or your product, expert on your ideal clients, and also expertise in communications. So it's not just something, if you have the feeling of, and that's kind of the third no-go, I'm bad at sales. If you go into your sales, whatever you do, writing copy, we just had much examples of that, and thinking I'm just bad at sales, you will suck at sales. It's just that. Because sales, good sales communication is always goal-oriented. And the goal, and that's kind of my magic trick for you, the goal is not getting the client. The goal is much smaller. The goal of a sales inspiration video is to get you inspired, but first of all, or second of all, it's to get you into action, to do little steps. So what I want to do is establish, do I get you want to take action? And I want to give you an idea of what we're doing. I want to establish a relationship with you, that you see that sales is not some magic. It's not a hard sell. It's not like being egoistical or like awful, all that stuff. That sales can be fun. That sales is about serving the client. That's about a first step in your consulting process. That's all I want to give to you to change your idea about sales. It's not about that I make one video and you become our client. That would be cool, of course. Not gonna decline you when you ring the bell and say, yes, want to be a client working with you. But it's a process. We don't know each other. You don't know much about me, or did you know that I'm autistic? Probably not. Who knows? Just write it down if you come to that point and ask, what did you just say? Okay, so it's about little steps, and that's why sales mindset is so important, because you have to figure out, where in my sales process am I with my potential clients? Am I in establishing a relationship, or am I in the end, like now we talk shop and that's the offer. Do you want it or you don't want it? And sales mindset is so important to see it as that step-by-step process, that you give your client a chance to catch up on you. Yes, your client has to catch up on you because you're the expert. Your product solves a problem. They just have a little glimpse of it. If they would understand the whole problem, why should they probably call you? Because most of the people who are watching that video sell services, not products. But that's kind of where you have to come from, and that's why consulting them on the problem side is so important. So sales mindset is normally based, if you watch that video, what is probably your problem? What are my thoughts and where you are probably stuck? You're probably stuck that your numbers are not that pretty. So revenues or profits are not where you want to like them to be. On the other hand, it's much more that you have like that inner resistance about doing sales, or you have that feeling I have to become a total different person and do hard selling tactics which are disgusting. Or you have that problem like I never come to the close. I'm not offering anything. I'm just like getting stuck there. It's just not working. That's kind of where you can be in that space of where you're stuck with your sales, or you just don't get started. Or the other way around, you are working now for months on your sales and you're still back to the numbers part or not pretty, and you want to figure out a way on how to do it the human-centered way, a more nice way. That are the problems you probably have. And probably this problem, another one is like really sitting in your neck because you have to get the money in. Other problems can be that you are in your head constantly and need someone to tell you that you should not work hard on your sales mindset for the next weeks. Just use your best mindset for the next 20 minutes while you do your sales copy or a sales pitch. It's about that you understand that sales mindset is always a first step, a quick fix, and don't get stuck on that mindset stuff. Don't get stuck on it. It's a quick fix. Because if you just do thinking work, nobody will ring the bell and says like, here I am, want to be your client. It's not going to happen. You have to take action. It's all about taking action. And it's easier and better if you're coming out from the right mindset and the headspace to take a conscious, good action. But it's always about taking actions. It's not about communications only. It's not about talking about it. It's literally about doing it. And a sales mindset shift is just that, a little shift for a certain amount of time, and then establish a behavior which becomes over time a second nature, and then you can evolve from the behavior into the next mindset step, into the behavior, and can work your inner with your outer world. But don't buy the lie that you should work just only on your mindset. We're going to change pace to the skill side soon, but you have to start to understand that stuff you don't do or coming out from the wrong headspace is going to kill your sales. And we don't want that. We want to make sales great again by doing the extremely most, what can you do to deliver the highest value? So that's all about it in the sales. How can I deliver high value to you and you to your future clients? If you don't know what to do tomorrow, ask yourself that question. How can I deliver high value to my potential clients? What is it what they need, and how can I be of service? That's kind of the base and the probably magic outline of how to do a proper, good, human-centered sales job. As always, we're happy for feedback, likes, shares, and everything else. And I hope to talk to you soon again in that kind of format. Every time on a Thursday, it's English speaking inspiration time. And if you want to enjoy the German version one, that one is on a Tuesday morning. So, and of course, if you're watching on YouTube, you have a whole lot of a shebang to watch on today. Take deeper dive. Now getting up on the speed on English, already some episodes for YouTube. So have a great rest week. As always, do a proper sales job and deliver value to your potential clients. And of course, always deliver value to your clients. Talk to you soon and see you soon. Bye-bye.